Morning and
All right, no problem. Eddie, you got to go on. There should be. Did they put some on the shelves over there when they brought the stuff back in, or maybe in the back? By the windowsill.
You could use Mayors. I don't think it needs anymore.
Okay, ready.
Anything over there?
Yo, could you?
Like Jack had a big one. I don't know. That one disappeared in the other room. It was like one of these. Oh, it was like one of these, but I don't know what it.
Yo, I need you to text Mayor.
Oh.
Say, if you're old enough to have kids, then you have to be responsible enough to come let you over.
1 second. Here, just take this one. I think this one's fine.
Use the big orange phone.
Oh, the big one? Is that Mayor's or Allen County? So that's or Eddie, if you want the extra or whatever. All right. Let's go for Eddie. Eddie has carpool soon. Right? 7:30. All right. All right. Good morning, everybody. Today is Daf Sadi Gimel. It's a little long.
Hey, let's see.
So all right, so let's get started. Zok the Mishnah, which is the second wide line, I guess. And Sadi Gimel Amid Aleph Shkoyach.
Yeah.
We actually seen this entire Mishnah besides the last line, so we'll just fly through it. Kaitzeitz Adam Ayidei Atzmo Ayidei Beno Bito Hagdeilim Ayidei Avdo V'Shicha Hagdeilim Ayidei Ishto Pnei Shem Vendas. So the person can go ahead and make a deal with the employer. Look, we're not going to eat, but pay us a little more. Pay us the benefits in cash instead of higher wages. They can go ahead and make a condition, and the workers can go ahead and agree to the condition. He's making that condition on behalf of his wife or his children who are gedolim because they are bardas. They can agree to a disagreement, and therefore they are not allowed to go ahead and eat because they are getting paid a little extra. But he can't go ahead and make this deal because the young minors can't be Michael, right? Their rights to go ahead and eat or his servants that are ktanim, or his animal. He can't say, you use my animal, pay me a little more, and I won't, I'll muzzle my animal, because they do not have das. Now, next case, a person goes ahead and is hired workers to go ahead and work on his tree, which is neteravai. Neteravai is the 4th year. You can't go ahead and eat it straight. You got to either go ahead and redeem it or take it to shlam to eat it. So they are not allowed to go and eat because they know they're going to neteravai. This is we can't go ahead and eat off the ground. However, if he just said, come and go ahead and prune my tree, and it turns out that they had no ideas neteravai, then the owner must pay that. The owner must redeem some, and therefore machilan, and then allow them to go ahead and eat from that which he redeems. Similarly, these parts agula, let's say he had some barrels that spilled, and or that opened. He has to go ahead and hire workers to close them up, or dried fig cakes that came apart. Good morning, Yiga. We're just in the Mishnah. It's very repetitive what we saw yesterday. We're just towards the end of the Mishnah on Tzadi Gimel with Aleph. So Harei Elu Lo Yochlu, they cannot go ahead and eat it because these things have already Chayv and Meiser, and they can't go ahead and eat something which is Chayv Meiser because they're already barreled and was already made into pressed fig cakes. However, he did not inform them. Then Meiser, then the owner must go ahead and tell them they had no idea that they're working with things that are Meiser. Therefore, the owner must go ahead and separate Meiser Umachilam and then go ahead and feed them. Fine, that was all stuff that we saw yesterday. Now a new halacha, one line: Shomrei Peiros, the person who watches Peiros, Eichlin. A person who's watching fruits. I was talking about people who are working. All right. So what type of work is a security, right? Sitting there watching it. So a watchman is that working out with some machlokes in the Gemara. So they can go ahead midaraisa. They're not considered to be workers, and therefore really they have no rights to go ahead and eat from that which they're working. However, the Rabbanan or Mehilchas Medina, we allow them to go ahead and partake of that which they're watching. Fine. That was the Mishnah.
Because that's a prevalent custom.
That was the custom. So we'll soon see what's the situation. Now, let's talk about this last line because the Gemara really just touched upon the other topics yesterday. Shomer Peiros. Those who watch Peiros. Amar Rav Lo Yishanu Ela Shomer Ginos Paradisim. We're only talking about people who are watching stuff that are in the orchards. Now, that's his job in the orchards. But if he was watching already piles of stuff, then he's allowed to go ahead and eat eichlim min haTorah. Saber That a person who's being shimer, so therefore he's allowed to go ahead and it's considered to be he's working, right? It's qualifies as working. Therefore, he's no different than a regular person who's working. Now, what's the halachah about a regular person who's working? So we said earlier that if it's attached to the ground, as long as it is the gemar malachto, then you can go ahead and do it. But if you're being shimer, right, if you're just watching, it's not the gemar malachto. So therefore, that was the reason why he wouldn't be able to. But if he was being shimer something which was detached and it was already a finished product, right? Excuse me, it was already unfinished. It's unfinished. So therefore, he's allowed to go ahead and partake. So therefore, midiraisa, he's allowed to go ahead and take because it's unfinished. Shmuel says no. So we're only talking about stuff that already, let's say, vats and the like and stuff that was already detached of Al-Shami Ginos Parvisa. But a person goes ahead and he just watches attached fruits on the trees. He can't go ahead and eat it all, right? Because why? Kasaver mishmar lav ka'isa ma'isa, because he holds that just watching is not considered to be working the field, and therefore he can't go ahead and partake, of the fields. And only midrabanan he's allowed to go ahead and take if he's watching something which is detached. So Mesiv Ravacha. So basically, it's a machlokes as what is shimor? What is guarding? Is guarding considered to be working or not working? Right? Is it considered like working the field or not? So Ravacha so Mesiv Ravacha Barhuna Hamshamar Sapara. One who goes in is watching the paraduma by making sure that nothing happens. So make sure that it doesn't work. There's no yoke placed upon it. Matami begodin. His clothing becomes tummy. Now we know the halacha that a person who works in the process of the paraduma, he himself becomes tamei. So why is a person who watches the cow, the paraduma, become tamei? Why does clothes become tamei? And if you say just watching something is not tantamount to doing malacha, why should he become tamei? Good question. No, he might move it a little bit, so therefore we're not sure. We say therefore, we're masaking that his clothing become tough. So Meisir Rav can ask you another question. A person goes ahead, he's watching 5 different, let's say, gourds or piles. He cannot go ahead and fill himself up from one of them. They're owned by different people. Rather for each and every one. He's allowed to go ahead and eat the fiyah cheshbon. According to that, part of the cheshbon was allowed to go ahead and take, is everyone, proportionally. So Gemara says now, if he's just watching, if he's saying if you're watching something, it's not tantamount to working it. Why is he permitted to eat it? Right? If Shmira is not watching, so then why is he permitted to partake? We're talking about stuff that was already detached. It was detached, and therefore a son which is detached from the ground. Therefore, he's allowed to go ahead and partake. So the Gemara says, well, if they're detached and they're watching it, it's already considered nigmar malachta, and therefore it's chayiv meiser. Therefore, what's chayiv meiser? The worker cannot go ahead and partake from it. So the Gemara answers, no, shalom nitel pika shalahem. When the little blossom at the end did not fall out, and therefore it's not considered to be finished when it comes to meiser. And Amar Rav Ashi Kvasi, the Shmuel Mistav, it's also logical to say like Shmuel, who holds that Shmira is lav k'ma'aseh damim. Did tonight we learn in the Mishnah ve'elu oichlim in Torah, and these are the people who are eat midiraisa. We saw this earlier. Ha'isim mechuber lekarka b'shas gemar malacha. A person is working with things that are attached to the ground during the gemar malacha, like during the harvest. V'tolish when things become detached v'chulit. So it says Michlal deika deloy ka'achim in Torah elam hilchas medina. Mashma, it says these are the things you can eat midiraisa. Mashma, that there are things you could eat midrabanan, rather they could eat. So Gemara says, Ema Seifa. So let's look at the Seifa, right? Because remember, only Shmuel says there's midrabanan, right? Shmuel says that this case is midrabanan. About Ema Seifa. Elu sheinan eichlin. These are those who can't eat. So my einan eichlin. What does it mean that the Mishnah says einan eichlin? Ile mashein eichlin in Torah elam ilchas medina. If you're telling me they can't eat and as midiraisa, but only midrabanan. I know Reisha. The Reisha already said that. As if you recall, when we learned this case, I said I'm not. This is the exact opposite of the Sefer was the exact opposite of the Reisha. So what's it going to teach? So this Gemara is actually sort of answering my question. There, so it says Hilchas Medina. Hainu Reisha Elav. No, but that which it says you can't go ahead and partake of it means not midiraisa, not even midirabanan. And what is this referring to? That is referring to a person who is working with something that's attached to the ground during what's not Gemar Malacha. Certainly, Shomer Ginas V'Pardesis, certainly a person who's guarding it, he's not even working it, Shalom B'Shas Malacha, he's just doing Shmira. Certainly, such a person would not be able to go ahead and partake not Midaraisa and not even Midrabban. Fine. Next Mishnah. Mishnah's well-known Mishnah. Arba Shemim Hein. There are 4 types of Shemim: Shemer Chinam, V'Hashayel, Noises Char V'Haseicher. There are 4 types of Shemim: a Shemer Chinam, a person watching something for free; a borrower; a Noises Char, a person who is renting; a person, a paid watchman; and a Seicher, and a renter. So Shemer Chinam, who comes to Shemer Chinam, I'm doing you a favor. The favor is completely with to the owner. So Nish Balakol, such a person, he basically just has to make a shul, whatever happened to it, as long as he wasn't completely negligent. And he makes a shul that he's pater for paying. Vashel, a person who borrows, in other words, he gets all the benefit. B'sham Misakol, he has to pay for everything. Any case, he has to go ahead and pay the owner. Have a nice schar, and a person who gets paid, or a seicher, or a renter, right? In other words, that there's basically it goes 2 ways. Yeah, each one's doing a favor, right? You're watching it for me, but I'm paying you to watch it, or I'm using your item, but I'm paying you to use your item. So each way there's benefit going both ways. So this is a seicher. They swear that let's say something happened to them. They say, "Oh, if it was working normally, and it broke down, or it died, or any of these, or was taken captive." All these cases, he just makes a shvuah. Or, but if it's, let's say, lost or stolen, then he has to go ahead and pay in such a case. So Zok the Gemara Mantana, who's the Tana of our Mishnah? Abba Shemi, who's the Tana of the Abba Shemi himself? Rav Nachman, Rav Hua, Rabbi Meir. This is the opinion of Rabbi Meir, who holds basically. We saw this earlier. There's a machlokes as to what a renter is. Is a renter similar to a paid watchman or not? So this is the opinion of Rabbi Meir that holds that basically a seicher is just like a nice ischar. So Amalei Rav Nachman, me get the less like Abba Shemi. I understand. Well, who says it's not 4 showing? Everyone holds it's 4 showing. It's 4 categories. So I'm like, how can come in? This is what I meant to say to you. I actually jumped to theirs. Samantana Seicher Kanais. Who was the one who taught that a renter is just like a paid watchman? That is the opinion of Rabbi Meir. But didn't Rabbi Meir learn the opposite? The time is learning a price. Seicher, a renter, how does he go ahead and pay? Rabbi Meir, he's like a shemer chinam as a renter, which is opposite. Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Yehuda was one who said shemer sachar. So Rabbi Baravua, so he actually learned the opposite. He said that Rabbi Yehuda was the one who said shemer chinam, and Rabbi Meir was the one who said shemer sachar, and that's why our Mishnah is like shemer sachar, which would be like Rabbi Meir. If that's the case, Arba Shleishanin, it's not 4 shemer, it's really 3 categories. So Rav Nachman Rabbi, so he says no. Dalet shemer v'dinei shleishin. Yes, no, there are 4 different categories of shemer, just 3 categories of halachas. Now we'll get into some cases. Yeah.
So what are they taking out, the show?
Well, no. So show is his own category, shemechin is his own category, and basically the nice schar, a paid watch, is his own category. But what is a socher? What is a renter? Is a renter like does he have the same halacha as a shomer sachar, right? Or a shomer chin, right? So that's the question. So our Mishnah, but there's only really 3 verdicts, right? And those are the 3 categories of verdicts. Question is, which one does seicher fall into? Now, let's get into some specific cases. So there was a person, a shepherd, who was going ahead and walking his animals along the river, the Nar Papa. One of them slipped, so one of them slipped and fell in the water. So the shepherd was given the sheep to go ahead and watch. He took it by like the riverbank, and one of them fell into the river. So is he chayav or not? So us look him into Rabbah. They came for a Rabbah, and Rabbah says, "Upatre." Rabbah says you are pater for paying. So am I happy the Mavi? Because he said, what was he supposed to do? This is the normal way people walk their sheep along the river, and one fell in. What are you going to do? You're pater for paying. So pater, so I'm happy the Mavi. This is the way that people watch animals. So a person is paid to be a shepherd, and he goes inside the city. He leaves the sheep outside on its own, just like the people. They go for lunchtime. They go inside. They leave all the sheep outside. No one's watching them. So what are you going to say? That's how people do it. So he should be pater then. So I'm like, yeah, you're right. This is what he's supposed to do. Okay, well, what about Gana Pursa, the Ganaichi? What about he takes a little nap when everyone else takes a nap? The Hachinami, the potter, you can tell me this shepherd's potter. So I'm like, yeah. That's how that's halacha. Say these are the types of einse. This is something which is an eines, right? And remember, your eines, your potter, right? Not negligence, right? Only something that was not was not preventable. So shesaymer sachar pater. These are the items that is shomer sachar that a paid washer's pater alehen. Kagain v'tipol v'tavel shabbat v'tikacham esanarim havu lefi charim. So it says over there, right, that they came upon the Narim, right, with the sword. In other words, they came and they attacked them, they ambushed them, and they killed them with a sword. That's called an inus. Not walking your sheep and one slipping down. That's not an inus. That's preventable. You could have watched it. Arms, troops come and take over. That's an inus. So that's okay. Some of them hasam bechazini bechazni. Right, masa over there. No, those people were actually hired to become like the city security. Right, it wasn't just regular shomer sacher watcher sheep. That was the armed guards. The armed guards have a higher responsibility, and therefore, with armed guards, the only way to that they're pater is if a troop comes upon them, an army comes upon them. So Masai Shomer Sacher Chai. As I said, the kasha, when is the Shomer Sacher Chai? Lishmor ad kadei hayisi b'yoyim achalni chorev v'kerech b'layda. It says there, when Yaakov Avinu says, "The love and I watched your sheep the entire time, even during the heat of the day and the cold at night. I was always with him." So that's what a Shomer Sacher is supposed to do 24/7. You can't just say, "Oh, I act like other people. I took a nap during nap time and I let them be on their own when I went to go ahead and eat lunch." You have to do extra. Even during the heat of the day or the cold of the night. Over there, once again, it was like the town security. So I'm going to Yaakov Avinu, how do you understand Yaakov Avinu was the town security? He was a chashuv man. She wasn't town security. Lavan, he said to Lavan, No. He wasn't saying that. He was telling Lavan, I watched your sheep more than I really needed to. I watched you, Ki'ilu, I was the town security, and even that's how good it was. So that's only a special town security is supposed to watch like that, but a regular watchman, according to Rabbah, can just watch like everybody, like the standard way. It's ace fast, another kasha. A person was shepherding and then he left the pen, ear, and then he's watching the animals, then he left, he went to go ahead and take a 20-minute break. And he went to the city. Came a wolf and chopped up one of the sheep. Or ba'ari v'doras, or came a lion and tore apart one of the animals. I think it's aim. It should be aim. Yeah, we don't say, if he was there, he's chai, because if he was there, it wouldn't have happened. Ella, I didn't reevaluate. If he would have been able to fight off the wolf, then now he's negligent because he should have been there. But if not, then he's pater. So my law of the is not referring to when other people go. We see over there that if he could have prevented it, therefore he's chayiv. So you can't just act like other people. You have to do an extra shmirah. Why is this low? No, the reason why you evaluate whether or not if he would have been there is we'll say that he went up there not when other people. It wasn't standard to go up during that time. He took an extra break. So my putter. Why should he be putter? Even if he would have been able to not prevent it. If it was a lie and he couldn't prevent it, why would he still be putter? Because anything that starts off with negligence, even though the end was an inus, but if you start off being negligent, i.e., he took an extra long break, that was negligent, and even though it ended up being an inus, a lion came along, nevertheless he's chayiv. So the answer is no. The Shama Kol Aryeh. Oh no, he heard the roar of a lion and then he ran away. That's why he's patur. Of course, is he hachi? I didn't say. I understand why he's saying evaluate. I have it evaluate. What could he have done? So the answer is no. He should have gone ahead and got make noise or sticks or other people to go ahead and chase with the animal if he heard it coming. He could have prevented it, the final attack. So hachi. My ear is Shomer Sacher. Why are you saying Bedavka Shomer Sacher? I feel the Shomer Chinam. Nami. Even a Shomer Chinam also. Daha Marhu Damer Shomer Chinam Shayla Lekadim Berois Makalos like Kidem Chaim. Because we learned a Shomer Chinam, even a free watchman, if he could have prevented something by getting others to help him, then he doesn't do that. Then he's Chaim. That's considered to be negligence. My answer is no, Shemer Chinam Bechinam, because over there, a Shemer Chinam doesn't have to go ahead and pay someone to go help him. A Shemer Sachar B'skar, but a Shemer Sachar, he has to go ahead if he hears something coming and he needs the guy says, "Oh, I'll do it for $5." Then a Shemer Sachar has to pay. Ve'ad Kavan, how much does he have to pay? Ad Kadei the man up until the value of the animals.
Oh, wait, he's relying on the owner of the flock to.
He'll reimburse him exactly, right? He'll get reimbursed.
Well, you could say the same thing about the Shomer Chinam.
Right, but up there he doesn't have to put out his own money. He's not even expected to do that. We don't even expect that of him.
I see, because this guy.
Right, this guy has more responsibility, right? So you have a responsibility to hire someone. The other person, you should have asked someone, for free. Now, where do we find that a Shemer Sachar paid as a chai for einstein? The other shakel the me'am mi balabais. Right, so basically, this is your question. So why should you go ahead and do it? So the Gemara says, no. Afterwards, he goes ahead and takes the money for the balabais. Exactly your question, Eddie. So Amar leira papa labai ihachi my hani le'minai. I understand. So what's the benefit? Okay, so if I saved your $100 sheep, or by paying someone $100, so how did I benefit the owner? So my answer is no. Not for me to look sure the chiyusa. People get accustomed to the animals. I know how to watch these specific animals. I don't want to have to start over with the new animal. I don't know his behavior. It's inami or the tarchi serasa. It's a schlep to go ahead and find a new sheep. So therefore, that's the reason why. And Rav Chiz and Rav Huna they did not hold like that. Rav. In other words, they didn't say that, hey, as long as you go ahead and watch like the standard person, you were potter. Right? It says, no, you were hired to go ahead and do it. Therefore, you have to do it. That's why I paid you to go ahead and act a little extra. Barada savlua havi kavavir chayusa gama to nourish the chipa. So Barada, he was going ahead and walking over camels right across the range, and one of them one of them pushed the other one into the water. Now, as it bumped it, they were all crossing together, and one of them bumped one, it fell into the water. So also come in, and he says, you're chayiv to go ahead and pay for the camel. So Amalei, my havi lilim yav. What could I have done? So Amalei, you should have walked them one at a time.
Right? They have heard of animals move.
Oh, sorry. So the next
one, water everywhere.
Right. So he said you should have made sure they go one at a time. So Amalei. So he says, Yadata be barachitcha damatzim avichad. I understand. Is anyone in your family? That's how they cross their animals. They do one by one. Yeah, people already yelled at me. There's halacha. Oh, nobody else does that. Too bad. You know what? You're being paid to watch it. Walk them one by one, in order that they should follow. Do your job. Aibu Ifkud Kisna Beirunia. And we got some 3 interesting names today. So Aibu went ahead and he put his flax by the house of Runia. So Azul, right? So he says Azu Shabu Shamte Mine. So Shabu came along. So Shabu, he was a thief. So Shamta Mine. So he stole it from him. So at the end, they saw that Shabu was the one who stole it from the house of Runia, and he should have, and he's the one he's begun him. So also came to Rav Nachman, he came to Rav Nachman, so he says he's chayiv to go ahead and pay the Shemesh, chayiv to go ahead and pay, and then let him go ahead and get the money from Runia. So the Gemara says, Leima pligi de Rafuna, Baravin. So let's say this machlokes between Rafuna Baravin, the Shalach Rafuna Baravin. So he says, Nigda be'aynes, if something was stolen be'aynes, ve'acharkach hukar ganav, then afterwards they recognize the ganav. Im shemer chinam who, if he was a shemer chinam, then ratza nishba ratza oisim odin. So the guy's a shemer chinam, so he's an option. Either we know what the ganav is. So either the shemer chinam to pay the owner, and then the shemer chinam can go to court with the ganav, or if the shemer chinam wants, says, I'm out of this. Here's the ganav. Here's his number. You go ahead, Mr. Owner, take him to Basin. However, im shemer sachar, but if he was a paid watchman, then who oisim odin, then he has to go ahead and pay the owner, and then the paid watchman, he's the one who goes to court. And therefore he goes ahead and he pays him, and he doesn't swear to the owner. Rather, he takes the gana to the court and takes it there. So why in this case do we say by Runia has to go ahead and get it? So Hasam Gavi de Parmegasuka Havi. The Ramakola Havi also the reason why he's punished, we make him pay the owner and then go to court and get the money from the thief is because they saw the guy coming, and therefore, since they saw him coming, so he should have prevented it. He didn't prevent it, therefore he was chayiv. So let's just do the last Mishnah, very quick Mishnah, the fun Mishnah. We'll get to the top of the page on Amud Beis. So Zev Echad Eina Einis. One wolf is not considered an inus. A wolf comes and attacks, it's not an inus, it's not unpreventable. You can stop a single wolf. Shnei zevim, but 2 wolves, inus is an inus. When there's like a plague of wolves that are going around, even 2 of them, as is an inus. Even 1, because these the wolves are acting wildly, therefore even 1 is an inus, and therefore he's pater. Shnei kalav, 2 dogs, ain't inus, but 2 dogs is not an inus. However, Yadu Abavli, that was the guy's name. Amar Mishum Ramesh says, if the 2 dogs come from one direction, then ain't no inus. Then that's not inus. You're right. However, Mishnei Ruchos, but it comes from 2 different directions, then that is an inus. That's a full-on attack. Alistim, robbers come. Harei inus. That is an inus. Ha'ari, a lion, v'hadoiv, and a bear, v'hanamar, and a leopard, v'habardalus, and a polecat, v'hanachash, or a snake. Harei inus. Those are also inus that the person is pater. Same aside when we're talking about this bisman shabam elei, and when they come on their own. But if let's say I lead the animals to a place of where these animals are, or I've released them, or I lead them to a place of then into the bad neighborhood, then they get stolen. Ain't inus, that's not an inus because I basically walked them into that hazard. Mesa the animal dies naturally. How raise inus? That's considered to be an inus. Sagvo mesa. But if I have to go ahead and I get the animal extra tired or whatever it is, I get it sick and then it dies. Mesa ain't inus. That's not considered to be an accident. That is basically on the shemer. Also, the Roshei Tsuki V'Nafla, if the animal went off on its own, and it even the owners tried, the watchman tried to stop it, but it wouldn't listen, and it died. Areza Inus, that's an Inus. However, hello the Rosh Tsukin, but if the Shomer brought it up to the mountain, V'Nafla, then it fell, Umesa Eina Inus. That is not considered to be an Inus. That's not an accident. That is negligence. I Zak the Gemara, V'Hatanya, 5 to the bottom, Zevechad Inus. 1 wolf is an Inus, and Amarav Nachbar Yitzchak Hahib. So I one's an Inus. Our Mishnah says only 2 is an Inus. That's during the plague of wolves. And Rabbi Yehuda and Pina Rabbi Yehuda, where he says even 1 is a plague. And at least him harei inus. And at least him it's a thief. That is an inus. The Gemara says, "Amai luki gavra lahadi gavra." It's mano mano, man versus man, 1 versus 1. Why is it an inus? Let me fight him off. Samarab, at least him is. We're talking about an armed robber. See, boy, the question was asked: least him mizuyin v'roy mizuyin. What about this? An armed thief. Right, an armed thief is looking for trouble, and an armed shepherd. So he's not necessarily looking for trouble; he's just looking like to defend. So, what's the halacha there? Do we say uki gavra ladi gavra? Do we say, hey, it's 1 versus 1, mano mano? Therefore, it's not nice. So, Dilma, hi masanafshe, hi lo masanafshe. Or one guy is willing to go ahead and lose their life. In other words, they know that, hey, I'm an armed guard. I better be ready to use my gun. And the other one's not. He's not really not looking for trouble. So the high masanafshi. No, it's logical to say that the thief is looking for trouble, and therefore therefore it's considered to be an inus. So Amarle by the Rava, Ashke Raya, Amarle. Let's say a shepherd finds a ganav, and he says, "Sarya beduchte plania." So he says, you know what? He's like challenging this what's it called? This ganav. He says, you know what? I'm in this place. Right, we're in this place of this is where we're staying at this lodge. That's where we're sitting. Gavri, right? A certain amount of people. We're 6 people over there. Ika, we have dogs there. Ika, Zakusa, right? Psikolons. He says over there. This is how many people we have. To shoot slingshots, right? So all of the shakamine. And then, so basically, he challenged the thief. The thief went ahead and he says, "Okay, I'll meet you there. I'm a tough guy too." So, and then he went there, and the thief took it. So, what's the halacha there? Some are lay. So he said, "No, hare holichin lamakom gedudei chayv." This is considered to be something like you walk into the animal's den, or you walk into trouble. So to here, when you challenge the ganav and he calls you out on it, then you challenge the ganav, and therefore that is considered to be negligence on the shemer. All right, we'll stop here at the Mishnah. Everyone have a wonderful Shabbos. We'll see you, Bezos Hashem, next week. All right.